My next guest is an e-commerce entrepreneur. In this episode, we dive into a skincare company he built and sold for 7 figures. In this episode, we talk about how he found product market fit, how he marketed his product, how he leveraged Amazon, and we talk about his exit multiple. Please welcome Scott Cartwright. Scott, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Good to have you here. So before we dive in, can you tell us something about yourself? Most people don't know.
I'd say that I speak 4 languages, English, Spanish, French, but the crazy one is sign language. I studied to be in another life, it seems, studied to be a sign language interpreter. So, as people who listen and then interpret for the deaf. I was a student of that back in the day.
ASL, as they'd say.
ASL, exactly.
Yes, I know the acronym on that, American Sign Language. Awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
All right. Well, why don't you take a few minutes and tell us about your career background?
Sure. So I started out, I guess, my professional career, if you'd call it that. I graduated from college and I joined the Navy. So I went to aviation officer candidate school, like you probably saw back in the Officer and a Gentleman movie, with the drill instructor and all that. Went through that training, became an aviator in the Navy. So I wound up flying S-3B Vikings off of aircraft carriers. So I did that for 3 years. We took one of the aircraft carriers around the world from Norfolk, Virginia to San Diego. So that was pretty fun. After that, I got out of the Navy. That's when I was doing sign language interpreting, trying to figure myself out. I did education for people with diabetes. So I actually taught diabetes education to deaf people, which was kind of interesting.
Wow.
Only person doing that in the country. But so from there, and that was all back east. I wound up moving out west, and I was working, trying to get a supplement business going. It had kind of moderate success, but not as successful as I would have wanted it to be. So then I wound up going back into healthcare. So I worked at UCSD, UC San Diego Medical Center as a program manager for people who had blood clots in their pulmonary arteries. And they would fly in, we'd remove the blood clot, and I managed that whole program for them, got my master's degree in public health from that, decided to move on from that. I know Sean is crazy, like all over the place, but I guess that's
This
how
is good.
that's how careers go, right? So then from there, I decided that I wanted to get out on my own and work for myself, do my own business. And so my father and I, he's a doctor, we started a health coaching company for people with chronic disease. And so MS in particular, multiple sclerosis. So we created a home study course around that. He was the brains. I was kind of the person behind the scenes doing all the marketing and sales and all the tech stuff. So we created a home study course. We created an online program. We created a supplement. We created private coaching. And then from there, I decided to let my father do his thing, and I was just going to go out on my own because I was kind of behind the scenes on that one. So then I started a skincare brand, vitamin E oil-based skincare brand. And I don't know how much further you want me to go, but
keep going. This is good.
Keep going. Okay, so I created a vitamin E oil skincare brand. I grew that over 3-4 years time or so, sold it, was dabbling in a few other things a few years ago, and then wound up acquiring a skincare manufacturing company and providing coaching around that now. So that's kind of the broad scope of it. Happy to talk about any more of those pieces if you'd like.
Love the overview right there. Thank you for taking us through your journey. We're going to talk about 2 businesses here. First, let's talk about that business you built and sold over the 3 and 4 years. The e-commerce brand built around skincare, vitamin E. It sounds like, did you say vitamin E and?
So it's a vitamin E oil-based skincare brand. So I started it with just a vitamin E oil. And then when I found out that it had success, then I expanded it to a full line of vitamin E-based products. So there was an oil, an eye cream, a daytime moisturizer with SPF, a nighttime moisturizer, and a scrub that were going along with it. So once I had a winner And I realized that, people, when someone's putting something on their face, they trust you. The first level of trust is something you put in your mouth. The next level of trust is something you put on your body. And so once I knew that the customers trusted me, then I came out with a full line of products. And
Sure.
then from there, I extended to some pretty unique products. So a product for melasma, I don't know if you know what that is. It's a skin
Mm.
condition, an acne product, a pretty unique product for hot flashes. So I'll go into some kind of niche categories and try to fulfill a need where there were no other products.
Sure. So we'll talk about that business and then we'll dive into what you're working on today. But with that first business you built and sold, what was the name?
It's health priority natural products.
Health Priority Natural Products. Okay.
Health priority, yeah.
Got it. Okay. And was this a bootstrapped company or did you raise capital?
No, it was bootstraps. It was just something that I started up. I wasn't even sure I was going to sell vitamin E. I just knew I was going to sell something skincare. And so it was an Amazon based play at the beginning, and
Hmm.
I created it, posted on Amazon, and it got traction on Amazon, and that's when things kind of took off. So it was totally bootstrapped. It was hard because it's like an
Oh
inventory
yeah.
based an inventory based business is like you're happy because the first time you're ordering 1,000 bottles, and then the next time you need to order 5,000 bottles, but you have to pay for those 5,000 bottles ahead of time, and you don't sell those 5,000. You have to pay, then you have to pay, and then they have to produce them, and you
Yeah.
have to get them to Amazon, and then they have to sell. So you're not making your money back for, I don't know, 60, 90 days. And then before that 90 days is up, then you're putting another order for 5,000
Hmm.
bottles, then you're putting another order in for 10,000 bottles, and so it's just this constant game that you're trying to play, trying to trying to balance the money. It may have been easier if I had raised some money, but I didn't know anything about that.
This is good for the listeners to know. And at times I like breaking the fourth wall and talking to them and be like, e-commerce is there are people out there you'll see the gurus on YouTube and social media be like, I'm making six figures a month on this e-commerce brand, and they make it sound like it's overnight. And in most cases, it is not overnight success. It takes years to figure out product market fit. And then what you just explained there, you got to figure out your manufacturing process, your supply chain, your shipping, everything around inventory. How do you deal with that? You better be good at that. Otherwise, your business can tank overnight.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't really want it to be an overnight success, because if you sent in 1,000 bottles and then you have to order 100,000 bottles the next night, you don't have the money for that. And no one is going to give you
Yeah.
the money for that because you don't have any kind of track record. You have to build up credit with people and
Yeah.
things and processes and your manufacturer and all that, because they're not just going to go out on a limb for it. So
Yeah.
overnight is almost a kiss of death. You really, as much as you want the overnight success, you really do want it to kind of work up incrementally.
Yeah. Yeah. Good call.
Yeah.
So let's dive in. One of the big challenges business owners have right up front, which is product market fit. So this is a product based around vitamin E. What I'm naive here. What does vitamin E really help with?
So it's a major antioxidant, and so
Uh,
when you have it in a skincare product, it has anti-aging effects and anti-inflammatory effects. So it helps with what people are mostly looking for with their skincare product is moisturization and evening the skin tone and texture. I don't know if you remember, but back in the day, people may still do it now, cut open vitamin E capsules and use that, the vitamin E topically on burns or on scars. And
mm,
so it's really healing as well. So it was just one of those things. I was trying to draw a little bit off nostalgia and go with something that people trusted, and a little bit of luck or accidental research. I'm not sure what you want to call it, that
sure.
I landed on the vitamin E.
Now, with that, did you develop the product and then have it manufactured overseas, or how did you actually make the product?
So I worked with a natural product formulator here in the United States,
Okay.
and we came up with the product together. So I knew that I wanted it to be vitamin E based, but I didn't know what else should go in it. And so I worked with a formulator. We came up with the formula, tried it, give a few
Yeah.
samples out to people and then went with that. But so it's all formulated and manufactured in the United States.
Gotcha. Okay. And I assume this was a cream. Is that right?
An oil,
An oil. Got,
oil blend, yeah.
got it. And let's talk about the unit economics here. This is a consumer play, and you were able to sell it on Amazon. Are you talking about something that costs between like 10 and 30 bucks, somewhere in there?
That cost the customer.
Yeah, customer cost. We'll get to your costs in a second.
Okay, yes. So it cost the customer 19.90, yeah, $20
Okay. $20 play for a bottle, sounds like.
for a bottle. Yes, exactly. And I was a high-priced person. It's important for me to be the high-priced product in the market, just so that I can have one, per higher
Quality.
perceived value, and then two, it gives me extra cash to acquire a customer. And so I never want to be, when you're the cheap product, Amazon and everybody
Mhm.
else is just kind of a race to the bottom trying to just beat you.
Yeah.
And so I never want to be that person. So I was selling my half ounce of product for more than the full ounce of other
Better.
vitamin E products. And and you may do it too. You go to you see a product, you see it is expensive, like, oh well, it must work. And then it also allows you, when you have the high priced product, it allows you to really take care of a customer. So a customer can't write in and say, oh, I don't like the fact that this happened. Well, we'll send you a new bottle, and we'll send you a full ounce bottle to replace the half ounce
Sure.
bottle that you purchased. And people love it. No one takes care of people. They feel like they got something special. They'll tell their friends about you. They'll be
That's
customers.
it.
So it was important for me to be that person.
A gracious experience from A to Z is so critical. Yes, you want if you're just selling your customers something, fine, but if you can give them an experience, a gracious experience, that's the trigger. And I've worked for companies that have that philosophy. You want to really move the needle, you need your customers telling their friends and family.
Right.
That's where you get the growth. And a gracious experience is the input to that output. So
Right.
good for
And you
you.
have to have the money to do that, though.
Yeah.
If you need to be the high priced, you
Oh yeah.
need to be gracious
Yeah.
and giving. And so being a high priced leader allows you to do that.
So you're selling for 20 bucks. What was your hard costs all in?
So to get the product made was $4 or
Okay.
so. So a nice margin there. And then the only other thing that eats into that, though, money, is Amazon. Jeff Bezos did not become Jeff Bezos by giving you, you
For
know,
free.
charging you to use his platform. So he gets a nice little cut out of that. But yeah, no, but I mean, but he has the eyeballs. You have to pay for the eye,
Yeah.
and he has them, and he has the credit cards. So
Yeah.
pay what you have
So
to.
with that, what kind of margin did he take?
He takes about 25 to 30%.
Wow. Okay. I look at that,
And that's
people
just in referral fees. There's also, sorry to cut you off, that's just in referral fees. Then there's the extra. He's making money off of your paper, your advertising as well, because you're advertising on Amazon. So in his pay-per-click advertising model, he gets money there.
what percentage there?
Oh, that's probably another 20%. Yeah, it's trying to remember the numbers, but yeah, I'd say somewhere in there, because and in the money that he charges you just for fulfillment for Amazon, for FBA, that's actually people doing things, like he's paying
Yeah. Oh yeah.
workers, truckers, and all these other kind of things. But with the advertising, he's not really paying anybody, just showing it to people on his platform. So it's not really a hard cost for him there.
Mhm.
But anyway, you're taking me back to my Amazon days where I'm like, oh gosh, it was so hard, just because you're trying to, like, Amazon's taking all their fees, and you're trying to turn that, you need that money for inventory,
Mhm.
but it's good. It's good. It all works out at the end.
So after paying all the fees, you said you had the referral fees and you had the advertising fees, and there's an FBA fee on top of that. So a third
Yeah,
fee.
it's
Yeah.
about
Okay.
15% or so. Yeah.
Okay. So after all in there, the $4, what does that turn into? About 8 bucks?
Yeah, total profit was probably 8 bucks per bottle.
Not not bad. I have talked to people who are selling products and you're looking at almost a 50% profit margin.
Mhm.
Whereas I've talked to other people that have been closer to like 15%, sometimes as low as 10%. I think I talked to one person who was 8% profit margin.
Yeah, but that is that skincare. I'm not
It
sure what.
wasn't skincare. It was a totally different product line, but this is where you get a lot of inexperienced e-commerce people that think they can make their fortune doing Amazon FBA, and they'll list a product, and next thing you know, they did a horrible job with sourcing their product, finding a manufacturer, then they
Yeah,
don't charge the right price, and next thing you know, they'll sell a product for, let's say, you know, $20 and $18 are going out the door. It's
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I'm talking numbers, just to be totally transparent. These were numbers several years ago as well. The cost of everything has gotten higher. So
Yes,
where that may have worked where it's not working now for them, it may have worked, or they may have been more profitable 5, 10, however many years ago. So
sure.
I
What,
had
yeah, what years did you build this company?
so it started end of 2014 through
Okay. 18.
2020 or so.
Oh, so about 6 years you had it, 14 to 16.
Well, that was the start, like the whole process started in 2000, into 2014. But yeah, so let's say 5 years. Yeah.
Got it. All right, folks, let's take a quick break. If you're like me, you have a lot of traffic coming to your site, but it's very hard to determine the difference between window shoppers and qualified buyers. Fortunately, there is a solution. I'd like to introduce you to Lead Feeder. Lead Feeder is a tool that shows you what companies are visiting your site, what their browsing behavior is, and it integrates that data within your CRM. The solution? Convert more traffic into sales. Head to leadfeeder.com for a free demo and get a free extended premium trial when you tell the rep that you heard about Lead Feeder through Payback Time podcast. All right, back to the show. To back up a second, how long did it take to find product market fit? Because you're making a real product. I'm in the digital space, so creating a SaaS product, you're not making something physical. You write new code essentially, or change your code to create a different feature. And you can go back and forth on that, iterate until you find product market fit. Now, in your case, you have a physical product, in this case, an oil. You got to make that oil, then you got to get it out to customers and get their feedback until you hit a home run and have something that sells. How long did that take?
So for me, it was fairly quick because I'm a marketer at the end of the day. I'm not a skincare person. And so what I want to do is I want to win before I even produce the product. So what I wound up doing is I put on Amazon a vitamin C serum. I wanted to see what kind of success I would have with the vitamin C serum on Amazon. So I private labeled that, meaning I did not buy a bunch of inventory. I bought 10 bottles from someone else, put my label on it, a custom label, custom
Yeah.
form. It was their custom formula, but I private labeled it. Sent it into Amazon, and people were buying it. But when someone buys something from you on Amazon, Amazon gives you a search term report telling you what the product was, what the search terms were that led someone to buy that product. And so what I figured out from selling my vitamin C bottles, where people were looking for vitamin E, but they were buying vitamin C because it had vitamin E in it. So I kind of reverse engineered the product market fit because I knew that people were looking for vitamin E. I looked on Amazon and saw that there was maybe one other competitor that I could figure I could outmarket. And then I created that product that people were already asking for. So it's
Smart.
a little bit different. You don't have to do a lot of this guessing if you just listen to what people tell you and then do that. It's like
Yes.
I call it the restaurant model. You go to a restaurant and you tell them what you want and they go get it for you and bring it to you. They don't just a waiter doesn't come to you, a server doesn't come to you and say, take this, T-bone steak. You're gonna buy this T-bone steak, and I made spend so much time
You're going
for
to
it.
like it.
You're gonna like it. You're gonna have it. They're like, well, I don't even want a T-bone steak. But if you tell them, hey, I'd like some pasta, then they say, oh, we sell pasta, and they go make the pasta for you and bring it to you. So that's what I did. People were telling me they wanted
Uh,
vitamin E, and so I went and created a vitamin E product.
few key takeaways I want to highlight for the audience here. One is I like what you did there with the data. You list a product that you know that sells. Vitamin C is hot. Everybody, like my wife and I, we take vitamin C basics, right?
Yep.
Okay, what else are they searching for? Not everybody's looking at the data like you did, and you're looking at, oh, okay, so they're looking at or searching for vitamin E. There's a
Mhm.
lower, probably from my point of view, probably a lower search volume or not search volume, lower amount of competitors for vitamin
Correct.
E.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So
Yeah.
you have a wider moat and you can get your product out there listed, almost a blue ocean, if you will. Right.
Exactly. And especially if you know that you can do better than the
Yeah.
competitors that are out there, then it's good.
Yes. So did you like with going from the first iteration of the oil to really where you started hitting massive traction? Did you go through a bunch of iterations over that duration?
There were a few just because I started out with a scented version, and then people were in the comments and in the reviews, they said, "Oh, we
Mhm.
love it, but we have, we're sensitive to smells, so we love an unscented version." And so just a few little tweaks like that, listening to what they were asking for, and then the unscented version wound up being the majority of the sales, 70% of the sales, people would prefer that. And then, or someone would say, oh, we would like it in a little bit bigger bottle. We're going through it so quickly. So created a full ounce of it. So a full ounce and a half ounce, and the scented and the unscented were the only
Yeah.
iterations. Because I was trying to not go crazy, because then it's a lot of SKUs that you have to manage and a lot of just different inventory options that you're trying not to manage, because you could go crazy and make it a bunch of different scents and all these different things. It just complicates
Yeah.
your the logistics and all of the ordering and the management and the
Right.
paying and all that.
Gotcha. No, another big key takeaway there, and this is a discipline that a lot of entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs they can't do, which is listen to the customer, like listen all the way. Don't make it about you. And that's what you did is this constant feedback loop and looking at the comments. Did you ever get people on a Zoom call or get them on the phone to really dive deeper into what they're looking for? You ever do that?
I did talk to a lot of people. This was before Zoom, though, so
Hmm.
it was a while ago. I did talk to people. I talked to people quite a bit, because that's important for me to figure out what they're really
Yeah.
looking for, and how we can position the messaging, and just what we can do better, especially to kind of create that experience that people are looking for, that they
Hmm.
miss. And,
Did you
and
get
that
them on the phone or did you meet in person and with people
it
in your
would be
local
it would
area?
be on the phone. We would call people up from the that would have purchased on the website, actually, because we
That's
have
great.
their contact details. Yeah.
That's great. That's the tried and true way. It's not the glamorous way, but it is the easiest way to find product market fit is simply listen to the customer. And I'll ask entrepreneurs that are building a tech platform like mine and I'll ask them, how are you doing with product market fit? And they're like, well, we're still kind of working towards it. I'm like, well, how many customers do you talk to per week?
Yeah.
Crickets. How many do you talk to per month? Cricket. Like you are missing the mark by a lot. You got to be on the call. Nowadays, I try to get people on Zoom so you can see facial expressions
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
read their body language. You'll say something and they kind of not wince, but if they kind of they'll say yes, that's interesting, but they mean no. Then I'm like, you really don't want that feature, do you?
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
it's so true. I mean, you just talk to people, and no one wants to talk to people, but it's the
Yeah.
easiest thing. You find out what they're looking for. But I find it really important, because you find out the language that they use, that you can then use back
Yes. Yes.
to I started to say influence, but to make them understand that you know what you're talking about, and that you are someone that they can trust. And because that's what it boils down to at the end of the day. Even selling skincare, they want
Yep.
to trust you, and when you use their words, they're like, okay, yeah, he gets it. I mean, there's vocabulary you use that I use, that inside whatever group we're in, and then that they know what they're talking about. It's like, okay, yeah, this person is,
Man.
yeah.
That's smart. You kind of write down as they're having or you're having the conversation with them, write down the key words they're mentioning and you go to the next person, the next person. I try to do the same. You use their language, then that becomes your marketing copy.
Yeah,
You don't have to hire an ad agency for 100 grand to try to figure out your tagline.
exactly. They'll tell you, and you just write it down, and then you just
That's
put the
it.
thing back. Same thing you do with the kids. Your kids say stuff to you,
Yeah,
like, why are you saying that? But then when you try to say it back to them, it doesn't quite work with your kids because they're like, oh, don't try to be cool. But
sure,
but when you do
sure.
your customer,
Yeah.
they realize.
Can you take us through the numbers a little bit? Do you recall, because it was about 4 year process, 4 or 5 year of what kind of revenues you made year over year, just so we can kind of visualize the growth trajectory? Do you
Yeah,
recall?
if I could think of it, it probably went, so at the peak, it was up to about 3.5 million
Okay.
in sales. And so, but like, as you can imagine, that did not happen overnight. Um,
No.
I did not look or think to look at that, but I would, but it kind of snowballed. It's not a, whatever you
Straight
call it,
line.
not a straight line. That's the word for it. It's kind of does this, hockey stick thing because things start compounding when you start getting,
Yep.
the more people buy, the more reviews you get. And when people start seeing the fact that you have, 1,000 reviews is different than 3,000 reviews. They're like, oh, 3,000 reviews or 5,000 or 10,000, those numbers.
Right.
And then so when that happens, more people start buying, and then the algorithm at Amazon would give you priority, and then you have more money to spend on acquiring customers through the pay-per-click advertising platform. So sorry, I don't know the
That's okay. Yeah.
year one, year two, year three, year four. Um, but it was not, it did not go in a logical way.
Do
It would have.
you do you know when you hit like an inflection point where, you're in that mode where you're working hard and you're putting in the time and you're not really seeing the ROI quite there, but did you hit a certain point when bam, it just started taking off? Would that be like year two, year three, year
Two to
four?
three, yeah, somewhere in there. Year three, by year three, things are starting to really click because you also have enough, you have enough revenue that you can create some kind of spin-off products and just add to the customer experience with we decided to throw in a gift. Like if you bought a kit, you get a special
Sure.
scrub along with it. And so you have enough money to do those kind of things. At the beginning, you're just putting money just back in, just trying to feed the
Sure.
beast. But after that point, then the beast is kind of getting fed. You have some
Hmm.
proper relationships in place with like American Express preferred partners. So well, they'll give you a loan. It's like a loan, but it's cheap money. But you have to be at a certain, you have to have been with them for so much time and all these other
Of
things. So
course.
it gets easier to do those type of things once you've been selling for longer. It just takes a while to get there.
That's great. Let's take a quick commercial break. So, if somebody tells you to buy a stock, the last thing you should do is buy that stock. The first thing you should do is ask why. And fortunately, a lot of influencers on YouTube, TikTok, Reddit, and other social media platforms are giving really bad stock recommendations and investment advice. The question is, how do you know the difference between good advice and bad advice? That's where Ticker can help. Ticker cuts through the clutter to help you understand truly what is a good stock and what is a bad stock. This way, you can invest confidently on your own. All right. Simply look for those stocks that are on sale, as you can see here with my watch list, and try to avoid those stocks that are overpriced. Of course, don't take my word for it. Go to Trustpilot and see what our customers have to say, and as of today, we have a 4.9 out of 5. And if you're interested, you can join Ticker for free. All right, back to the show. And let's dive into marketing and sales a little bit. So you stayed on Amazon for the whole duration. You didn't jump off Amazon, is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Would you say that was your primary marketing channel?
That's the primary marketing channel.
Yeah.
Yes. And then in addition to that, I was also overseas, but that's Amazon as well. So I
Sure.
was one of the first ones to go to Europe. So it's Germany, France, Italy, Spain, and one other place that I can't think of, one other country, but it was fine, and the UK.
Okay,
And
sure.
so we're in Amazon Europe, as well as Amazon Canada, as well as Amazon US, and then also on Walmart and
Oh, sure.
my Shopify site, so my own
Yeah.
e-commerce site.
I was going to ask if you had a Shopify site, which is kind of the go-to listeners out there. If you're looking to create a e-commerce site, I always tell people go with Shopify as your first play. You could go with Squarespace or Wix as a good second option for e-commerce, but you're just going to have more features and functionality. Or put it this way, you'll make your life a little easier if you go with Shopify. Yeah,
Start with Shopify, yeah. And
yeah,
then you don't have to convert over or wish you
yeah.
had or any of that stuff, yeah. Because they
Do
have everyone, they have all the apps, they have
yeah.
all, it's the place you go for that.
And do you have an idea of the revenue split? Like I look at Amazon kind of as one channel, I look at Shopify as another. Would you say 80% of your revenue was from Amazon, 20% from Shopify?
If that, probably more like 85 or 90 from Amazon, because it
That's what I
was
figured.
Amazon UK, Amazon Europe, US, and Canada. And the Shopify was just meant to be a place where people would go. Sometimes people want to just check on you afterwards
Legitimacy.
or
Yeah.
before, exactly. And so Shopify was there to pick up those people. And it was cheaper on Shopify because I didn't have all of the expenses that I have
Yep.
on Amazon, and kind of an incentive to purchase on Shopify because then I had the contact information and I could do with that
You
information. I
own the lead.
own the
Yeah.
customer.
Yeah, there's a few benefits there. Again, to the audience, if you're creating e-commerce, and I only know this because I talked to a few people in this space, is you want the Shopify brand to the legitimacy, your real business. You're not just playing, I'm going to launch a product on Amazon and you can't find me anywhere else. Like you don't want that. You want people to come to your site, do homework on you. What have you done before? It gives you more confidence to buy the product. That's number one. Number two is with Amazon, you're not collecting the leads, that customer base. If you got 1,000 people that buy from you and they're all on Amazon, guess what? You don't have any of those email addresses. You don't have those, right? On Shopify, you want them buying from, so you get their, and it's not to use the email to spam them. It's to kind of what you did. You could do upsells as an option. You can also talk to them. What do you like about the product? What don't you like? And all that stuff.
And you
To
can
cut,
offer sales too. You
yeah,
sell, periodic sales that we do, holiday sales,
promos.
almost exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. E-commerce is one of those businesses where you better be offering some kind of deal or special always. I see this in consumer every month. You better be thinking of something. What can I offer my customers to stay in front of them? B2B is a different play. You're not doing that. But yeah, you want to be pushing whether it's a holiday special or some kind of flash sale discount or something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Um, Another really important thing you did is you really lean into Amazon. I see people who fight back at the machine, if you will. They don't want to give the 15 to 20% or whatever percentage fee to Amazon. Or if they list a product on the Shopify app store or the Salesforce app exchange, or in our case, we have a mobile app coming out for Ticker, and that will be on Apple and Google. Well, they all take their percentage. You can't look at that as a problem. You got to look at them as a partner. They already have the audience. They're doing a ton of work. Yes, they should get a percentage. And if you partner with them correctly, you look at them as a partner, that's when you can really grow together.
Exactly. I mean, Amazon has all the buyers. People go there to buy things. And so you want to be where the buyers are, where the credit cards are, and
Yes.
you have to pay for that. But it would be hard to do it without something like an Amazon platform.
Yeah. Got it. All right. So then we lead up to the exit of the business, I assume, because businesses are never sold, they are bought, is how the old saying goes. I assume somebody approached you and wanted to talk about buying you. Is that how this worked?
That's how it worked. Yeah, somebody was like, "Hey, we're looking to get into skincare." It's a portfolio, so it was
Yeah.
a venture VC firm that wound up uh,
Okay.
the business, And they were wanting to get into the skincare, wanting to get into Amazon. I didn't ask a lot of questions because I was just like, I was surprised at first, that anybody would want this business that I had grown. But yeah, no, they wanted it, and I couldn't turn down giving it to them. So
Yeah.
and so
And
so yeah, it was good. Yeah, it's good.
and when we're talking offline, it sounds like they purchased you for 3x EBITDA, which is not your top line revenue, but it's closer to the net income
Yeah,
number.
yeah,
So
exactly.
they come at you? Did they throw out 3x and you just said yes, or did they come in lower and you kind of negotiated higher?
No, so I wound up at that point I was working with a group that to help me with the sale because I
Ah,
know nothing of it. And so I relied on them to advise me. And so they said this is a good deal. You should take it.
sure.
They would not have said that. I trusted them. They if they could have gotten more, they would have tried for more. So I let
Mhm.
them kind of do what they needed to do together, and then they presented me with the offer.
Gotcha. Okay. And it sounds like you worked with an M&A firm to help with that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And can I add, did they take like a 3 to 5%?
I I think it was 3%.
That's
Yeah,
about right. Okay.
like five,
Key
3%.
take, yeah, for the audience, key takeaways to think about there is smart play, bring in an intermediary service. M&A firm is a great point, and about 3% commission. So whatever you sell it for, then they're going to take that percentage. It's a win for you. It's a win for them. So
Right.
you're both incentivized. And then the 3x multiple, that is pretty good because I've talked to quite a few e-commerce startup founders, and that is about right. With SaaS, you can have higher margins because you don't have inventory and shipping and all that kind of good stuff. You can, 5 to 7 EBITDA, maybe 10, but just some nice round numbers to get you thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Okay.
it.
Awesome. Can you share with us what the final number, what the sale number was?
Seven figures, is that good? Is that
That's
good with
good enough.
specificity? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
seven figures. Yeah,
So built it to 7 figures in revenue and then sold it for 7 figures. Now that's great. And were you 100% owner?
100%. Yeah, just me.
Bootstrapped,
Bootstrap.
American
Sounds great when it's
dream.
bootstraps, but when you're up in the middle of the night, writing yeah, until
Mm,
you get going, you're responding all the customer support and all this other stuff. That's bootstrap. Then as things go, and like I mentioned before,
sure.
2, 3 years, then you could start outsourcing all these things. But I outsourced a lot, but kind of early because I knew where I needed to
Yeah.
focus my time.
Yeah.
So it wasn't 3 years before I just got rid of customer service, but it was definitely bootstrap.
Awesome. Really, really fun success story. Before we jump into the rapid fire round, I want to talk about one more key takeaway, but I want to be specific. Usually I kind of leave it open-ended for the guest. In this case, I want to ask you, were there any big lessons learned or mistakes you made along the way that you'd tell our audience to avoid?
Any mistakes? I'd say the main mistake is I probably started focusing on other things outside of Amazon too soon.
Mhm.
It sounds nice to diversify, but it does take away focus from what you're really working on and what you're trying to do. And so there's a time for it, and just trying to figure out when that timing is. But you have bright shiny object syndrome as an entrepreneur. It's like, oh, there's Walmart and there's Target and there's Shopify and there's all these things. And you really just need to be disciplined and just make sure one is really,
Yes.
really clicking before you worry about any of the others. And that could be with anything. If you're doing YouTube advertising, for example, for not even e-commerce, but just get good at YouTube
Right.
advertising for YouTube and then TikTok and Instagram. There's 10 million places that you could do something. Just pick one
Yep.
and focus on that.
You know, to kind of piggyback on your comment on the product side and the marketing side, that is so true with the product side. Create a home run product, not 15 products that are okay. Create one really good one and lean into that. That's especially true for e-commerce. With SaaS, focus on that one product. You can think about other SaaS complementary products to help your audience, don't even go there. Like you want to get one platform right. And
Yeah.
then on marketing, you're 100% right. Like find the marketing channel that really moves the needle. There are business owners that think about, well, I need to be omni-channel. I got to be here and here and here. It's like, no, 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 no. Get really good at one. And in your case, Amazon. You talked about the key fundamentals, like getting your reviews, getting as many reviews, because that helps your placement. Like that's where I would put all my focus.
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly.
Yeah.
Stay focused.
Very, very inspirational story. Love the data. Thanks for diving into it with us. But let's go ahead and transition to the rapid fire round. This is the part of the episode where we get to find out who Scott really is. If you can, try to answer each question in about 15 seconds or less. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. What is your favorite podcast?
My favorite podcast is My First Million.
Mhm.
Um, and I stopped listening to it because Bill Gates said that he ripped out the radio in his car. And he did that just so that he could stay focused. So stay focused and think about his business. So if I'm not listening to My First Million, because I can be obsessed with it, I don't listen to anything just so I can try to think about my own business.
Good for you. Silence. All right. I see
Wow.
it.
Yeah.
All right. What is a recent book you read and would recommend?
I would recommend $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozy. I don't know if
Hmm.
you
Got it
are
on my
familiar.
shelf.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's good. It's really good.
Awesome. All right. The movie question. What is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie is kind of old school, The Matrix, number one, the very first Matrix is just that it blew my mind and it still blows my mind considering, what it was for when it was. Nowadays you'd see it and you're like, I don't know, but for me it was like maybe what the kids are experiencing with Avengers and whatnot now. That was my Avengers moment, The Matrix.
Matrix still holds up, and it's hard to
Yeah.
believe it's 25 years old.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
It is crazy. I'm old.
All right. What is the worst advice you ever received?
Probably build a better mousetrap along those lines. Build a better mousetrap and they will come. It's not just that they will come. You have to do something,
Yeah,
Got this great thing. Um, so yeah, I think that
that's a good one. Flip that equation. What's the best advice you ever received?
is that you don't know what business you're in until you start. Like you always think you're doing something, but until you get in it and try to sell something to someone and figure out what they really want, then you really don't know what your business is about.
I love that advice. You think your business model is one thing, and if you listen to your customers, it can be something completely different.
Completely different. And don't be
Yeah.
afraid to pivot to that thing. Don't get stuck
Yeah.
on your recipe because people may not want that much salt in it.
The
So
restaurant
yeah,
metaphor. Yes.
exactly.
All right. Time machine question. If you could go back in time to give your younger self advice, what age would you visit and what would you say?
I would go back to probably 25 to 30, and I would tell myself that it's all going to work out, that it will be just fine. If you don't have the end in mind, if you don't know what the end is, that's okay because you just take the next step. Just take the next logical step for you, and,
Hmm.
and you'll get there. We just think that, oh, I'm going to be this and I got to get there, and it's not a straight line at all. It's okay to zag left and zig right, and then you get to where you're supposed to be.
Right on. All right. We didn't get a chance to talk about your current business you're working on, but why don't you take a minute here, tell us about what you're working on today and where people can reach you.
Sure, I will do that quickly.
Mhm.
After I sold my skincare brand, I wound up acquiring the manufacturer that made my skincare brand, so a US-based manufacturing company. And I acquired that to help entrepreneurs start their own skincare brands. So I own a skincare manufacturing company. We make skincare, hair care, body care, and pet care products. So that's my business. Now entrepreneurs come to us. We help them from start to finish with product ideas and the formulation and the labeling, packaging, trademark, legal stuff. We manufacture. obviously or clearly or surely. We fulfill on
Hmm.
the back end, sending things to Amazon, holding on things to sell them for your Shopify site, and then we help with marketing and sales as well. So what's hot now is TikTok Shop. The influencers there are incentivized to
Hmm.
make videos and sell your product. And some other cool places like Flip Shop and things like that. So this is more than just a manufacturer. So since I'm involved with it, I know what entrepreneurs need. I know what they're struggling with. I know what obstacles, all those things. And then I help people. I hold people's hand through all of that. The manufacturing company is called Novian Skincare. So it's Novian, novianskincare.com. So we're Novian Skincare Manufacturing. And then my personal brand with helping people through this whole process is the Skincare Sherpa. So I am the Skincare Sherpa because I am your guide to building a successful skincare brand. It's like climbing a mountain. You need a little help when you're going to climb Mount
Sure.
Everest. And so I'm there to kind of guide you through the whole process as the Skincare Sherpa. So I'm Scott at the skincaresherpa.com, or
Email.
yeah, that's the email exactly. And then Novia Skincare is the manufacturing.
That's awesome. I'll put all the links down below. If you guys are interested, just scroll down to the show notes. You can reach out to Scott there. But really appreciate this story. You gave us so many good takeaways on how to build a B2C brand. The B2B listeners out there, you can certainly apply some of the strategies, but those of you starting an e-commerce brand or B2C SaaS, subscription-based, end user facing platform, a lot of great tips here. Thank you so much, Scott, for your time.
All right. Well, glad to be here.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. See ya.
All right. Take care.